What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner coming back at you with more reviews. I just saw Spaceman, one I was really hyped for. And, the hype died down a little bit when I saw like early screening reviews. It didn't curb my enthusiasm, if you will, too much. But I started wondering, I was like, okay, I remember the test screenings where I heard that this movie was put on the shelf for years due to test screening. I mean, anybody want to fact check me on that? That's just what I've heard. Again, I'm not clarifying that as fact. But it's a movie that I started, getting a bad feeling about. But I went into it anyways. And I had heard right before I went into it from a few people that had already watched it because I waited a few days that it essentially, without, telling me too much, 'cause I don't like to know too much about movies, but just selling the vibe, kind of like I do here because I hardly ever do spoiler reviews, that it's a love it or you hate it type film. And I got to tell you, for most of this film, I thought I was going to be right in the middle. I was like, fucking leave it to me to not love it or hate it. It was all right. Or, something like that. Because as deep as some of, the things they were talking about within this movie were, as just human nature type stuff, just a deep movie. If you really dig deep within the movie, you're not one of those people that are watching, because there's gonna be a lot of people, those people that hate it, like, what the fuck, like, what are we doing? Are we going anywhere? What's happening? And there's people that just like, let me, grab onto that. What could that mean? How can I relate to this? Those type of people, the latter, obviously are going to be more linked to liking this film. But I found myself, being the latter type of person, but yet it still wasn't quite resonating with me on the levels I wanted it to, which really disappointed me. So it brought my score down quite a bit until somewhere down the line, man, it just won me over. That somber tone was not working for so long, but finally something clicked. And then the ending happened, and I really fell in love with that. And I had certain things that really hit me right in the feels in terms of relatability that just, felt like, oh my God, was this made for me? Those moments in like a song or a movie. And it ended up winning me over to the point I love this movie. This movie was amazing. This is yet another moment of showing Adam Sandler play a serious role and show he does not have to, do these dull ass comedies. And I'm not somebody that says don't do those. It looks like he's having a blast. I might not enjoy them, but I'm not going to be the person to say, you're wasting your fucking talent. If he likes doing them and there's an audience for him, then fuck yeah. I mean, I was a diehard Adam Sandler fan, but everybody's heard that. Like, oh, I loved him back in the day. I don't really like him now. I'm that guy. I don't need to fucking harp on it. But I do wish he would at least divvy it up a little more to where he did that, but he took more chances at expressing this. And he does more than the average comedic actor that we've seen. But I'd like to see at least, like one movie a year from him. Drop a comedy movie and then also pair it with a serious movie. Because what he just did with Hustle was great. Anything else he's done that's serious has just been great, dude. Fucking Uncut Gems. I think he is starting to glide into that category. Because even saying that now, that's, including this, that's like 3 in about the last 3 years. So we are starting to see more of that. So I'm glad he's doing that. But this movie, for a second, I was like, oh man, not bad. But I can see how some people don't like this. And maybe this is a step back, a tiny one rather than a step forward. But I'm here to tell you, after watching it further, I absolutely ended up loving it. And Paul Dano, and I think this is a minor gripe. It's nothing really to do with his performance as this spider, Hanus, I think is his name. I forget exactly how he pronounces it. There's some weird names in this movie, like Jacob's, like Jacob and shit like that, whatever. But the point is Paul Dano, man, he refers to Adam Sandler's character, obviously not a big spoiler. He just calls him skinny human. But he says it like he'll be like, blah, 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 skinny human. Is that how you feel? None of this is verbatim. I give anything away. Skinny human. Skinny human. Are you doing this? After a while, I was like, okay, bro. Like, I'm so tired of you hearing... Like, you call this man skinny human. Like, I don't know why. It just kind of got under my skin after a while. But then again, once I jumped from like, that's all right, I kind of like it train to the I loved it train, out of nowhere, it started to, wash that away. It's weird when you can kind of, peel whatever, those goggles are off when you're just, like when you're over the moon about something, all those little knick-knack tidbits fade away and can even flip-flop on their head to where you kind of enjoy them. So like I said, if one nitpick, that's like the only thing that kind of bothered me, just because it was just a personal thing. Like I'm tired of hearing Paul Dano say skinny human in this damn movie. But by the end of it, I was like, it didn't get older because the movie got even better to me, and I became more engaged with it. Where I was like, okay, I was like, yeah, skinny human. So little nitpick there. But what makes this movie so brilliant, man, is it's just, if you really, really, dive deep and cling to it and stay for the slow fucking ride that it is, you can really just get a peek behind the lens of what we do as human beings with our repressed feelings, and the way we just take things for fucking granted. It's like a perfect raw blend of those things put in a blender, and just a very like unflinching tale of how we just do these things to ourselves. And like somebody like Paul Dano's character as this spider just cannot understand, because we don't even understand why we do these things to ourselves. We just destroy our own minds in these weird fucking ways, and you'd think we could be able to control them, but sometimes we can't. Sometimes it takes us down crazy peaks and valleys and avenues, and you end up like Adam Sandler's character in this movie. And there's something to be said too, where he's just stuck, on this spaceship, Spaceman, with this, spider played by Paul Dano, to where maybe like we need that moment where we get away from literally everything. Like it's only in solitude that we realize we need the ones closest to us the most. And while on the flip side, the things that are repressed in this movie that I won't tell anybody, that I struggle with, that I bury deep down, can really eat at you even more when you are alone. So you're sitting here struggling, fucking tied to these feelings that do you no damn good, while all the good is out there on the outside, and he's stuck behind the hourglass conveying this type of stuff to this spider. I won't tell you exactly what these things are, but it was almost like a weird fucking flip on like the Ghost of Christmas Past, like Scrooge, where like, the motherfucker comes and talks to Scrooge like, well, this is where you messed up with this, and this is where you messed up with this. But you got to see that with Adam Sandler in space and Paul Dano as a spider, just playing this role of like, do you remember like small human, skinny human? I forget what he says. And you get to see that weird kind of flip on it. Like, sign me up, man. If that sounds like that's your thing. But understand, this is a slow movie. It's a deep thinker kind of movie. And you really got to, glide along with it, float along with it, even when it feels like you're just in space, floating, like, where are we going with this movie? Where are we going with this movie? But I think if you can really lock in and look at the metaphors and the messages, you can really find, the craft and the uniqueness of this film quite fucking interesting, if that's your thing. But you could also watch this, like I said, I get the love-hate appeal, where you'd be like, wow, like that really, damn, that meant a lot to me, the message. While you're looking over maybe your girl or who the fuck ever your friend, he's like, you like that shit? What the fuck was that? It's a very, very great movie, though, in my opinion. And I think it's a niche movie that's definitely going to be for select people. So know who you are, but still check it out, man. You should, dude. Come on. Paul Dano, Adam Sandler in space. At least, you at least want to go into that party, right? Like, you could step in, close the door behind you, and you might gauge the room. You're like, okay, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. But at least see what's at the party. God damn it. All right, guys. Anyways, that's Spaceman. I loved it. Let me know what y'all thought. Peace.